This is not going to be a full book review. I'm not even going to talk about all the chapters from this book. I'm only going to talk about the chapters in this book that I have personally found useful. And hopefully, if you also find them useful, you will go ahead and buy the book itself. I am not promoting this book. I'm not doing this for affiliate marketing. There's no affiliate link in the description. If you find this book valuable, you can buy it for yourself. The book, as you read in the title, is The Way of the Superior Man. Fuck, you're seeing it inverted. It says The Way of the Superior Man is by David Dida, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. But most importantly, I think it's a guide for masculine men in order to become more masculine and in order to navigate through their life. I'm gonna read a small segment of the introduction part that I have found immensely helpful. Don't worry, it's not too long, but it just changed my mindset so much and it helped me just understand and unravel so many things about masculinity. So here we go. This book is a guide for a specific kind of newly evolving man. This man is unabashedly masculine. He is purposeful, confident, and directed, living his chosen way of life with deep integrity and humor. He is sensitive, spontaneous, and spiritually alive, with a heart commitment to discovering and living his deepest truth. This kind of man is totally turned on by the feminine. If you noticed or if you understood what I was talking about, he basically described what a masculine man is. And he also made a statement that masculine men of this genre, basically the extremely masculine men, are turned on by the feminine men. And he goes deeper into this concept, and he explains that every person has an essence. It can be either masculine or feminine. So, man can be either masculine or feminine, and a woman can be either masculine or feminine. Basically, their essence can be different. I don't mean physical aspects or their behaviors, just their essence in general can be either masculine or feminine, both. Or they can even be somewhere in between. David Dida says that a person with a masculine essence is always going to be attracted towards the feminine. Here's what I mean. If you're a masculine man, you're always going to be attracted towards a feminine woman. And if you're a masculine woman, you're going to be attracted towards a feminine man. The sad reality of today's generation with Gen Zs, particularly, is that men and women alike are raised by women. Here's what I mean. Remember your school. Most or all of your teachers were females. Your father most likely had a job and he was at work most of the day. He didn't really contribute towards raising you that much. Your mother did most of the job of raising you, teaching you stuff. As a result, most men these days grow up to be feminine. They teach you at school to put your finger on your lips, to keep quiet, talk, don't not to talk loudly, not to get into fights with other boys, not to talk back to teachers. All of these traits are feminine. Not being able to speak your mind, having to speak quietly just because that's like socially acceptable thing to do. All of these things are feminine, and these are taught to men and women alike in school. That is what I don't like about. That is another thing that I don't like about the traditional education system. Nonetheless, most men these days are raised up to be feminine. And the funny thing about the society is that most women these days are taught to be more masculine. They're taught to follow their dreams. There's nothing wrong with following your dreams, by the way. For women, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. But most women are taught inherently to follow their dreams. They're not taught about the importance of having children, of having a family. Instead, they're taught the importance of creating your own identity in the society, of not letting any man dominate you. What this causes is an unnatural amount of people to become more of men to become more feminine and women to become more masculine. Again, there's in my opinion, there's this is like a unnatural thing, and I don't like this happening. And I certainly wouldn't like this to happen to my children. So I am completely against this. But this is what happens in the society today. If you're a smart and relatively masculine man, you will accept this to be true, right? So the only way to tackle this problem, this epidemic, is to turn yourself into a more masculine man. Because inherently, unless you're okay being a feminine man, which you are not, trust me, as much as you want to be like, I'm okay just um being a staying at home dad, I'll just take care of the kids and I'll just change their diapers and shit, and my women can go and work and make money for me. As much as you would like thinking that, that is not going to happen. You're going to turn bitter within a couple of months of living that life, because your core, your deep desire that you're locking inside of yourself is to be a masculine, dominant, fucking strong man. And most men are not able to accept that because that's something that the society teaches you is taboo. That is something that is bad, toxic masculinity. And there is 100% a thing as toxic masculinity, but just declaring masculinity as toxic is, in my opinion, just a very pussy move. So if you're a man that just dismisses the entire idea of being a masculine man, being more masculine, then fuck off, bro. There's nothing I have to give you. There is no information I'm going to teach you in this little guide that is going to help you in any way. If your mindset is so stubborn, then fuck off. The very first chapter of this book is called Stop Hoping for Completion of Everything. The masculine error, the masculine mistake that men make is they think that fundamentally something is going to stop whatever is happening right now to you, and then you will do that thing. I'll give you a very practical example. I was studying for my board exams, and I sacrificed everything while I was doing that. Maybe I was trying to prove something to myself, and in 2020, I decided that I'm going to give it my all. I finally wanted to see what I can achieve, what I can do when I give my 100%. So I decided I'm going to sacrifice everything. I stopped talking to my friends. I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, and I stopped myself from all kinds of entertainment. I stopped watching any kind of TV or TV shows that I was watching. I stopped myself from watching movies that I wanted to see. There were movies coming out like constantly, you know that. I stopped myself from going out to eat tasty food that I wanted to eat. I stopped myself from doing all of these things, and I sacrificed everything for a complete year, because I thought that the more I sacrifice and the more I prohibit myself from fun right now, I will be delaying gratification, which is a very masculine thing to think. If if you're a high value man, you will constantly be thinking about delaying gratification, about not eating that particular junk food, about not watching porn, not engaging in unnecessary arguments. You'll be trying to constantly delay gratification, right? So I'm not going to do this fun thing right now because I'm going to do that later on. There's also there's also flip side of this, where you think that something fundamentally is going to change in terms of your relationship with anybody. Your friend is finally going to stop disrespecting you. You think that someday he will just stop disrespecting you. Eventually he will, without you having to do anything about it. You think that your woman is going to stop complaining. Your woman is going to stop bringing up stories about her ex. Your woman is going to stop disrespecting you, calling you feminine, calling you bitch. You think all of these things are going to happen on their own. That is also a very big mistake. That is also cope. You think that you tell yourself this, that this is not going to stop, this is going to happen eventually. She's going to stop disrespecting me, he's going to stop disrespecting me. My parents are finally going to start thinking of me as a contributing adult member of the family. Unless you do something about it, nothing's going to happen though. Let me be very clear about this. That's what David Dida says, by the way, and also what I found in my experience. Unless you do something about something that you don't like in your life, nothing's going to change. Your mindset should not be that this will finally end and then I will do something. That my woman will just suddenly one day stop complaining and then I will give her my all. Then I will start loving her in the way that she wants me to. Or my exams will end and then I will start watching that video. Obviously, sometimes you just need to go on extremes. Sometimes you just need to sacrifice everything because you want to give something your all. Maybe you just want to force results. Sometimes it's okay, but that's no way to live your life as a man. Because David Dida says, at least, that your life is going to be lifelong tussle like this. Eventually, when you're older, maybe your wife is going to be like that. She disrespects you all the time. You're just hoping one day she will stop. Maybe your kids don't listen to you and you're hoping one day they will get smart enough that they will listen to you. Maybe you're younger and you think my father doesn't think that I'm smart enough. My father doesn't think I'm an adult. Maybe my father doesn't think I'm a man yet. All of these things are going to be lifelong problems. They're not going to get solved on their own. You have to work towards it. This is what I understood from this chapter, and it helped me immensely because it took me out of that "oh poor me, I'm so sorry" mode, and it got me towards the this is got me into thinking logically towards a problem and be like, this is a problem that I don't like in my life, that I want to fix, that I want to change in my life. And here is systematically what I'm going to do in order to help me from getting out of the situation. And the other thing that I was talking about of holding back on rewarding yourself, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. David Ida says that you need to allow yourself to live life. You need to allow yourself to have that cheat day. Allow yourself to, even when you're working super, super hard, allow yourself to have a date night with your girlfriend. You don't need to completely block yourself off these things, but I just feel like as masculine men, or at least in my experience, I feel like there are seasons to your life for those things. Like in my experience, I've found that there are seasons of my life where I'm like intensely, completely focused on my work. There were seasons of my life where I was every single day focused on creating the best script of the YouTube video. I was extremely focused on creating YouTube videos like that. I was working extremely hard, reviewing the footage, recording a single segment of the video again and again to get it perfectly right, editing the video in a way that gets people to enjoy that video more, not in a way that it gives them dopamine, but in a way that helps them watch the video towards the very end, make it more engaging, not in a degenerate way, but in a way that helps them watch the video to the entirety. There are phases of my life where I do that. There are also phases of my life where I just want to lay back. And in my opinion, that's okay. Because for me, especially, there's no balance, bro. It's not like every single day I can work super hard and then I can also enjoy my life. It has to be either or for me. Maybe it's not for you. I've tried both things. I've tried balance. I've tried this, and this works super well for me. I want to make sure that you understand I don't turn into a goblin and degenerate in the phase where I'm like chill completely. I still work super hard. I still make it my priority to work and produce high quality stuff. But I just allow myself to have fun, basically, to chill and enjoy the process rather than torturing myself. As I've grown older and as I've learned more about self improvement and myself, I have discovered that for me, it's extremely beneficial that I have seasons like this instead of just being like a fucking work. Because eventually you're gonna break. You can't work all the time, all day long, every single day of your life. At least for me, I can't. So That's chapter number one. Chapter number two that I found immensely helpful is called Live with an Open Heart, even if it hurts. The basic concept behind this chapter is that most men don't take responsibility. Most men get offended by criticism, by feedback. Most men live their life based off of their emotions. This is where stoicism comes into play. If you're not aware, stoicism is basically being a stoic means that your behaviors, your actions, and your thoughts are not fueled or driven by emotions, but rather by logic. Here's what I mean. For example, if you've just broken up with your girlfriend, just assume that if you have a girlfriend, just imagine you break up with her tomorrow today, and if you don't have a girlfriend, imagine that you just broken up with your girlfriend, right? Most men will go into depression. Most men will start smoking, start drinking, get into degenerate habits, they'll start watching porn and wanking every single day. This is exact opposite of what a man is supposed to be. These are pathetic feminine men because their actions are fueled by emotions. They get depressed and they stay at bed and they abuse and they just disrespect their exes and the women that left them because think they think, oh poor me, they have a victim mindset. They get offended. How dare she leave me? They don't think there must be something wrong in me. Maybe I need to improve so that this doesn't happen to me again. They don't think like that. They don't think objectively. They don't think, oh, I have room for improvement now. They don't think this is good feedback for me. Or even if they don't, even if you don't necessarily have to think this is good feedback for me. Instead, if you just be like, okay, this is a wake up call for me, I should probably start working towards improving myself. I should probably work towards understanding why this woman left me and correcting those things so I can be a better partner for my future spouse. Most men will close up their heart and be like, there's no love for me anymore. No woman will like me. I am not going to get back into the dating market again. That's pathetic and that's weak men behavior because you're scared of heartbreak. Being scared is yet another emotion. If you're thinking objectively and you're like, I want to focus on myself, I want to work really hard to provide for my family, and I don't want the distraction of women, that's okay. That's respectful. I respect you for that. But if you're thinking, I don't want to get back into the dating market, I don't want to go through the trouble of having to attract yet another woman and go through the trouble of another relationship, maintain a relationship, and then have her fall in love with me because maybe she'll break up with me and break my heart again. If you're living scared like that with your heart all closed up, David Dida says that is pathetic. David Dida instead says that even if your heart is hurting, you should still live your life with an open heart, even if it is like wounded um and hurting still. You should be open to new experiences. Even if you're just broken up, you should still be open to being. You should still be open to dating new women. Sure, take some time to recover from that by all means. Sure, improve yourself, become a better man, but be open to relationships still. And I'm taking this in the direction of relationship, but this goes for a lot of things. For example, I'll give you a personal example. This is a little hurtful for me, but I'll still tell you. I was young and stupid. I was in 11th standard and I wanted a puppy. I had just finished my 10th standard and my father had told me over and over again, I'll get you a puppy, I'll get you a dog right after you're done with your 10 board exam. I was super excited. I had watched a lot of videos on YouTube, learned about how to take care of dogs, and finally I got a little Labrador puppy. I thought he was healthy. I thought he was well fed. I thought he was a strong boy. But turns out he was sick. He had a lot of let's say, incurable diseases that were fatal. I got him checked after I had purchased him from a pet shop. Big mistake. Never purchase pets from a pet shop because they are doing business. Always buy or adopt dogs from breeders, from well known certified breeders who will give you a certificate and brand like a breed guarantee. I purchased a dog for less than the normal price from a pet shop, and he was very malnourished. He was very sick. He had two incurable diseases that were fatal, and I for 10 days he suffered immensely. For 10 days I did not sleep. For 10 days I had worked extremely hard in order to maybe save that puppy. But after 10 days of me taking him to a vet every single day, injecting medicines into him, and the doctors asked me not to feed him anything, not to even let him drink water because that would apparently hinder in the medication processes. There was a chance that he could be saved, but because there were two diseases, we later found out that he also had canine distemper. That's another like a very big fatal disease that dogs get. Because he had two of those diseases, it was really basically impossible for him to survive. So after 10 days of struggling, after 10 days of me, after 10 days of me basically rushing him every single day, twice a day to a vet, spending a lot of money in his medicines and his treatment, he finally passed away in my arms. And that was honestly worse than heartbreak. And that that supposedly was uh, that was the event for me that caused me a lot of heartache, that caused me a lot of pain. And I could be going in a direction where I've been like, where I go like, I'm not gonna get another puppy ever again in my life. I'm not gonna get another dog ever again in my life. And for a while, before I read this book, before I became a relatively high value man, before I understood that you're not supposed to live off of emotions, before all of that, I was under the impression that I'm never gonna get another puppy ever again because of what had happened in the past. But eventually, I came to the conclusion that some things are just supposed to happen. Maybe that puppy was supposed to be pampered by me. Maybe he was supposed to get a lot of love by me. So I came to the conclusion that that was supposed to happen. Maybe that's hope. Maybe that's me just justifying whatever I did. And what I did was wrong. Maybe I should not have purchased a dog. I should have adopted a dog. I should not have gotten him from a pet shop. I should have gotten him from a breeder, certified breeder. Should have done all that. Should have invested more money and gotten him from a respectable breeder. Instead, I made a lot of mistakes, and now I have decided that I'm going to learn from my mistakes, become a better man, become worthy of being able to support an actual animal, an actual life, and then I'm going to get a dog. I still want pets. I still want dog in my life. I think it's extremely valuable for a man to be able to take care and raise a dog. I think that's going to be a very enjoyable experience for me as a man. And I'm going to do that now. I have not yet recovered from that loss that happened in 2021. And I have by no means recovered from that event. But I do feel like I have become a better man. I make smarter decisions now and more informed decisions. And I do think I'm ready for a dog eventually when I can like financially support him. So this chapter says that even with a aching heart, even with pain filled in your heart, you should still be open to things. You should still be open to experiences and relationships and just life in general. Don't close yourself to life itself, because that is not what men do. That's not what leaders do. That's not what masculine men are supposed to do. That's what David Dida says, and I 100% agree with him on this chapter. Chapter number 3 that I found immensely valuable is live as if your father were dead. David Dida says a very specific interpretation of this chapter, but I understood and I created another interpretation of my own. And I'm going to tell you both of them. What David Dida says in this chapter is that live as if your father were dead. Like, you should love him immensely and you should work towards improving his life, because that is your that is one of your responsibilities as a man, to understand that your father, at after you reach a particular age, your father has done his job. He has raised you to be a man. He has financially supported you, emotionally supported you. He has supported your family so that you don't get like mental trauma or some shit. He has done a lot of things for you, and after a particular age, your job, it is your responsibility and a job as a masculine man to now make his life easier, support him financially, to retire him, to tell him that, Dad, you don't need to work for money anymore. I'll take care of all the bills. I'll take care of everything. Do what you love. Fulfill your purpose. Be happy. I'll pay for everything. Also, that should be your mindset. That should be the amount of love and the amount of expectation you should have from your father. But also live free of your father's expectations. What your father wants from you should be should be separated from what you want in your life. For example, if your father is an engineer, naturally he wants you also to be an engineer. But if you don't really want to be an engineer, if you think there are different ways that you can contribute to the society, if you think your purpose is is something other than just a 9 to 5 job and being an engineer, then you should be free of his expectations. Be okay with disappointing your father in terms of his expectations of what kind of a man you're going to become. That does not by any means mean that if you just want to become a gamer and be fucking asshole to your family, do that. That does not mean that. It means find success in whatever area and the process you choose for yourself, right? And sometimes that can be separate from how your father wants you to do it. Your life should not be dictated by how your father wants you to live it. So David Dida says, live free of your father's expectations. Be okay with disappointing him, but do not be okay with mediocrity. Don't take this as an excuse. Be like, my father wants me to get a job and be hardworking. I don't really want to do that. I'm a lazy bastard. I want to be lying in bed all day and be useful. If you're thinking like that, that is not what the chapter means. It means that your direction in life can be different from how your father wants you to lead your life. But ultimately, your father wants you to be successful. Your father wants you to be well off, financially free, and your father wants you to become a better man than he has. And if you can achieve that through any other means, then what your father wants you to, and it can be the same thing as well. But don't be scared of not living up to your father's expectation just because you love him, just because you don't want to disappoint him. That's completely fine. That is what David Eder says. Another thing is, another interpretation of this chapter, live as though your father were dead, is live as if your father is not always there to protect you. Don't have this safety net that, oh, my father is going to take care of everything. Don't have this safety net that if this business venture fails, my father is going to take care of it. If I'm not able to pay this loan back, my father is going to take care of it. If I get into this fight and I accidentally hurt the person too much, I get into like police case, my father's gonna take care of it. That is giving up control of your life, of making sure that you're never going to become a true man ever again. Because you're always gonna live under your father's shadow. You're always gonna be like, my father is gonna take care of that. Don't put your responsibility over him. Your father has lived a long, long life. And if your father is anything like mine, he has lived a long life already with a lot of burden on his shoulders, taking care of a family when he's a middle class person, being working extremely exceptionally hard to get us the entire family out of the middle class and being not out of the middle class, we're still a middle class family, but instead of being on the lower side of the middle class, at least now we're at the upper section of the middle class. That journey is exceptionally difficult, and I'm extremely grateful that my father did that, and he did that for the entire family. Even if he did that for himself, he still indirectly helped us all. So it would be disgraceful and shameful for me to live my life as though uh, live my life with putting all of my responsibilities on his shoulders. So in my opinion, if you're living a life like that, there is nothing more shameful or disgraceful or pathetic thing that you can do. Sure, if you're a young man, if you're under 18, even if you're under 16, 15, if you're still in school, sure, if you're living like that, okay, that's fine. But your goal should be slowly to get out of this mindset that, oh, my father's there. Sure, he's your father. Like, you should always be able to rely on him, but you should not by default put all of your responsibilities on your shoulders. That's extremely pathetic, though. Chapter number 4 is know your real edge and don't fake it. In this chapter, David Dita goes really deep into different layers of masculinity. So I'm not going to be talking about like the level 1 of masculinity is when you are 18 and you're just starting to become a man. It's not like that. Okay, every man has different levels of masculinity. Masculinity, being a masculine man, is it's not like there's an epitome of the ideal masculine man. There's nothing like that. So, but for every man, there are different levels to masculinity, and it is disgraceful and dishonorable for a man to fake his real edge or his real capabilities or his real level of masculinity various. For example, you will, if you have been watching my videos before, or even if you have not, I'll tell you about this. I never lie of the money that I'm making. I make how to make 1 lakh rupees per month guide, but I put a disclaimer either in the description or as I say it out loud in the video that I am currently not making 1 lakh rupees per month. This is just my path or my plan or how I'm going to start or how I'm going to work towards fulfilling this goal of mine or this purpose of mine. Being able to accept your shortcomings, being able to accept that, okay, I'm not at that level yet. Imagine there's a line in front of you, it's a scale from 0 to 10, right? And 0 is being extremely feminine, so being like a woman, like complete woman, and 10 is like being the ultimate man, extremely masculine man. Where do you think you are on this scale of masculinity? Most men will not say 10 out of 10 masculine. If you say 10 out of 10 masculine, then you're lying to yourself. This is a very good example of being dishonorable, being dishonest about your own shortcomings, about your own edge in life. I am not a 10 out of 10 masculine man. Like, there's still, so I'm not talking about like physical aspect, like I don't have chest on my head, no bullshit like that. I'm talking actually being a true man, like the traits of a high value masculine man. I don't think I have the 10 out of 10 all traits that a masculine man should have. I don't think that. And that is okay by me because I'm working towards improving myself and maybe sometimes reaching that level. You most likely didn't lie about it. Your masculinity on the scale was probably somewhere between 5 and 8. And if it was somewhere between 5 and 8, that's all right. because you were honest about it and you're watching this video to this point. That means you're actually serious about working towards improving yourself in that genre. That is completely honorable. It says right here in the chapter, it is honorable for a man to admit his fears, resistance, and edge of practice. Like, right now, I am not at 1 million subscribers because I'm just not good at making videos. Because maybe the quality of videos that I'm producing is not that good, because maybe the value that I'm providing is just not resonating. I am completely fine accepting that. I'm not just saying that because I'm reading this chapter. I'm genuinely okay. I have admitted this before in the videos as well. So being able to admit your shortcomings, your fears is is very honorable as a man. That is what you're going for. Because unless you admit your own shortcomings, unless you admit your own fears, your resistance, and the things that you're just not good at, maybe you have a skill deficiency, maybe you have, like now, just I gave you this example. I am not at 1 million subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, even simply because I'm not skilled enough in this game of YouTube. Right? It's not about consistency. It's not about the algorithm. It's not about luck. It's simply because I'm not skilled enough. Because the videos that I'm producing are just simply not good enough. And that is okay because I'm working towards that. So as long as you have that statement for any shortcomings that you have, I don't have a very aesthetic looking physique because I'm not consistent at the gym, that's okay because I'm working towards improving my consistency in the gym. I am fat because I am I am not disciplined with the way I eat. I am not mindful of the things I put inside my mouth. That's okay because I'm trying to correct that problem. If you're an older person, you'll relate to this. I am not able to quit my job and pursue my true purpose in life because of I am scared of failure, because I am extremely comfortable in this job because it gives me the illusion of safety because I'm getting money at the same date every single month, and because I'm getting added benefits, I'm getting health insurance and home loan stuff like that. You get stuff like that, right? And because it makes me feel productive, so I have something to do the entire day. If I quit my job, I know that I will not be paid money. I know that I will not get any added benefits. I also know that I'll suddenly have all the time in the world and I don't know what to do to fill that time. Similarly, if you're in college, I am scared of quitting college, of dropping out of college and pursuing my true purpose in life because I don't believe in myself enough. That's okay because I'm working exceptionally hard towards giving myself enough confidence, because I'm working towards on myself so that I have enough confidence in my own abilities and my own skills so that finally I can drop out of my college and finally start pursuing my honest and masculine purpose. As long as you have a statement like that, you're going in the right direction and you are a masculine man. Unless you're able to confidently accept your own shortcomings, your fears, your skill deficiencies, your shortcomings in any genre of your life, unless you're able to accept it and work towards it, you're not a masculine man. Chapter number 5 is always hold on to your deepest realization. And I'll read you the first line of the chapter because it's immensely impactful. Make your life an ongoing process of being who you are at the deepest, more easeful levels of being. The chapter speaks about holding on to the deepest realization. Basically, from what I understood, is always remember your why, your reason behind your starting a particular thing. Your life should be an ongoing process of whatever you want to become. I have time and time again asked you to do this visualization with me, and yet again I'll ask you to do it. Close your eyes right now, just for a moment. If you take action, I promise you it's only going to help you. Action always helps. I promise you that. It's going to be valuable. Just close your eyes with me and think of the man that you ultimately want to become. Like, what is the best version of yourself that you can imagine? He's probably going to be older. He's probably going to be way richer. He's probably going to have a gorgeous wife by his side. He's going to have a very beautiful family with kids running around. He's going to have a big ass house. He's going to have good relationship with his parents. He's going to have good relationship with friends. He's going to have a good network of high value masculine men who are kind of his tribe, and he's going to be the leader of that tribe. If these are all the things that you can imagine in your future self or in the best version of yourself that you want to be, your life is and should be an ongoing process of you transforming yourself into that man. You should think of every single event in your life as, okay, maybe this is hard, maybe this is uncomfortable right now, maybe this is even painful, but this is what creates that man. Me being able to become this person requires me to go through all these hardships. The reason that I'm faced with so many challenges is because I can ultimately become resilient. The reason I don't get stuff easily is because God wants to teach me patience. Because these are all traits of this high value masculine man that I ultimately want to become. If you want to if you see this person, this high value man that you ultimately want to become, you imagine all these traits, right? He's patient, he's humorous, he's flirty, he's attractive to a lot of women, but he is only loyal to his women. He is he works exceptionally hard. He's patient. He's delays gratification. He's disciplined. He's very good at being consistent at something. He can look at things from a broader perspective, meaning he can see things in terms of 10 years. He can see things in terms of 100 days. These are all traits. These are not habits. Traits take a lot of hard work, hardship, and time to develop. I don't think I have developed a lot of traits, but I do think that I've made a lot of progress in the past couple of years in becoming the man that has all these traits. The kind of man that I want to become is patient, delays gratification, is disciplined, is working hard, basically all the things that I listed out. They can be different for you, but majority of people will have these traits because these are all looked at as respectable traits for a man, right? When you see a disciplined man, you automatically are like, you automatically have respect for that person, right? When you see a man that wakes up every day and makes his own bed, when you look at a man who does not live his life with emotions, who does not crumble at the sight of any sort of hardship, you automatically respect that person. That is the kind of person that I want to become. I want to be able to lead my pack, my tribe of men. I want to become a leader. And I think I'm making good progress towards becoming that person, but I'm nowhere near the end goal of mine. Because as David Ida said, your life is an ongoing process of becoming this best version of yourself. The best thing you can do in terms of this is always remember why you want this. And there's a chapter that we're going to cover later on that's going to talk about your deepest, darkest desires. And David Ida made it sexual, like your sexual kinks and stuff. But I think masculine men are supposed to have deep, dark desires. Like that's completely fine. My deepest, darkest desire is that I want to be exceptionally powerful. Don't mean physically. I do mean physically also, but I just want to be immensely powerful. I want to have a lot of money. I want to have a lot of say, a lot of authority. I want to be a leader to like a group of men through this YouTube community. I want to be physically powerful as well. I want to be physically superior. I want to be a physical specimen so that my kids can look up to me, so that a generation can look up to me. I want to be that man. I want it so that nobody can ever say no to me. And I don't mean that in a degenerate way. I'll be ordering men around like you get me this stuff, you do this for me. I don't mean like that. I mean I mean this in a masculine way, like in a stoic way. I want to be so powerful that in terms of money, that if I want to just start a new company, start a new business, I'll just tell my assistant, I'll just tell my PA about it, and he'll get it done or she'll get it done within a minute. I mean, stuff like that. And I know that sounds a bit shallow that oh, he's just working for money, but I don't give a fuck. Yes, I want money. I want a lot of money. I want to be the richest man in my entire bloodline. I want to be the most powerful man in my entire bloodline. And that is my deepest, darkest desire. If I could do that without making a lot of money, I truly, genuinely would. But money and power, they just come together. You can't have one or the other, in my opinion. So having power is the byproduct of having money. Having money is a byproduct of having a lot of power. So that is my deepest, darkest desire. That is the reason why I work so hard. There are also a lot of non-superficial, non-selfish reasons that I work towards that I just would like to keep to myself. But just knowing these reasons, just knowing why you're working so hard, just knowing what you're pushing yourself into, just knowing all this stuff makes your life so much more simpler. And I do believe that most men don't need their life to be easier, they need their life to be simpler. If I just simply tell you, do this thing for 100 days and this will get you results. Start this business, do it for 10 years and you'll be successful as fuck. You will do it. I tell you it's not going to be hard. If I tell you it's not going to be easy, if I tell you it's going to be hard, if I tell you it's going to take everything that you've got, but it's going to make you immensely more masculine, more high value, and it's going to turn you into the most respectable man, turn you into the ideal man in your own eyes. You're going to be proud of yourself every day that you wake up. If I tell you all of that, you will go and do whatever the fuck I tell you. Because most men strive for simplicity. Men are simple creatures, bro. You must have seen that meme. Men are simple creatures. We only want a couple of things. So know what you want, know what you're working towards, and know why you're doing it. Exceptionally important. And make it your lifelong commitment, your lifelong journey to become that person. Chapter number 6 is never change your mind just to please a woman. David Dita puts it exceptionally well that when you change your mind or when you change your decisions simply to please a woman, let me give you like a very very personal and also very practical example that maybe you'll be able to relate to. I wanted to do this for all of my life, right? But one of my exes, we would have a lot of conversations and a lot of arguments and a lot of fights regarding what I wanted to do, what my purpose was in life. And she was under the impression that this is not practical, that my purpose of helping young men becoming the best versions of themselves was not something that I was capable of doing. She questioned my abilities and she didn't put it like that, but she was basically doing that. And I changed my mind because I wanted to please her. I did not, for, I fought for my decision. I was like, this is the right decision for me. This is the right choice for me. This is the right career path for me. I have full faith in myself. But she just questioned my authority so many times. She just questioned my decision so many times that eventually I just gave up. I was like, fuck it, I don't want to argue with her. And I was like, fine, what do you think I should do? I'll do that. When you change your core beliefs, when you change your decisions based of your women's desire, you're ruining your life and hers. Let me be very clear. You're not becoming a dominant, high value masculine man by this. You're also aiding to the relationship because as soon as a woman, this is also part of this book. We will cover it later on, but a woman will always test her man. A woman is always going to be questioning your authority. She's always going to be poking you and she will always going to be trying to get under your skin, trying to trigger you. And as a man, you should be able to tolerate that. You should be able to work against that and work and be able to manipulate her in a way. I don't mean like evil manipulation, like manipulate her in a way that tells her that you respect what she's saying, you respect her take on your decision, you respect her take or her opinion on your decision, but you're still the authority in the relationship. When you do that, you're basically solidifying her faith in you. You're making her feel safer. You're making her feel like she can actually put trust you. You can actually, you're actually proving to her, which is also what she wants, by the way, that you can make informed decisions and that the decision that you made in the first place was informed in the first place. Because even after her challenging your decision, even after her questioning your authority, you still stuck to the same decision. Sure, if a woman suggests that you should change your path, you should change your, I'm not only suggesting that you should like apply this in terms of like career choice. No, no. Her decisions are always going to be all over the place. She's always going to try to trigger you. She's always going to be trying to get under your skin. She's always going to try to get you to get angry. They women always test, man. As feminine as you get them to be, as compatible as you get them to be for you, whatever you do with them, they're always going to be challenging you, challenging your authority, challenging your decisions, questioning your decisions. They're always going to be doing that. And when you break, when you're like, fine, let's do it your way, she instantly loses all respect. And when a woman loses respect of her man, the entire relationship crumbles. As soon as she discovers that, oh, he's not really an authority figure to me anymore, oh, I'm not really able to look up to him anymore, I don't really respect him anymore, he's not really the masculine man that I thought he was. As long as she finds that out, she's she's um she's the more masculine figure in the relationship. She wears the pants now, she has all the control now, because you're always going to be looking at ways to please her, you're always going to be looking at ways to do things her way. And if you make an informed decision based off of the new information that the woman provides you, that is fine. But if you're just abandoning your own core values and your own core beliefs just because you don't want to displease your woman, that's pathetic, and she's going to sense that and she's not going to respect you anymore, and you're ruining your relationship by doing that. Chapter number 7 is your purpose must come before your relationship. And I don't think there's anything complicated in the chapter. You probably understand everything that the chapter is saying just from the topic, the heading. Every man has a purpose in life. Most men will not discover it. Most men will not even work towards understanding or knowing what their purpose is. Some men will try to find it. A very few men will actually work towards fulfilling it. And a very exceptionally small amount of people will actually fulfill their purpose. I am under the very few amount of people who have actually discovered their purpose and is actively trying to fulfill it. And I can tell you right now, every man that has discovered his purpose will never put their relationship over the ultimate masculine purpose that there is. I told you earlier that I gave up on my purpose and I went with whatever my woman was saying. That's because I was not actually aware of what my purpose was. I was like, I'm gonna do YouTube. That's what the career choice that I'm gonna choose. That was that was just like a that was just like a hint of what I'm ultimately going to do. I just knew that this was a career choice for me. And right now, this is not a career for me. Like, YouTube is a means to fulfilling my ultimate purpose. My ultimate purpose is not going to be prioritizing like my YouTube audience. This is just me providing value to you right now. My ultimate purpose, my ultimate goal, my strategy is very different than just becoming a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm an entrepreneur. So I can tell you honestly, being a man that has discovered his purpose, at least I think I've discovered my purpose, I would never prioritize any relationship over my purpose ever. Any man that has truly discovered their purpose will never do that as well. Any man that prioritizes the relationship over their purpose is either unaware of the true purpose, are not really driven enough, are not masculine enough to actually work towards fulfilling that purpose. They're not confident enough their abilities to actually, that they don't believe in themselves that they can actually work towards like fulfilling that purpose in themselves, right? These kind of men are doing a disservice to themselves, to the universe, and the women that they're prioritizing, that they think they're prioritizing, because they're actually robbing her of an authentic, high value man who can actually give her undivided presence. Here's what I actually mean. In the process of me fulfilling my purpose, I have to work exceptionally hard. There are seasons where I work in the past, and even in the future, I'm going to work exceptionally hard. I'm going to be posting every single day for 30 days in the upcoming days. So I have plans to be exceptionally consistent and exceptionally hardworking. And I'm going to do that. In order for me to do that, it means that I'm going to have to refrain from some friendships. I'm not going to be able to spend time with some of the friends that I have. Maybe I'm not even going to be able to spend time with my family. I think it's 2 p.m. right now. And since morning, that means since 8 a.m., I have not talked to my entire family. Since 8 a.m., I've been working. And that's because I am not working towards creating YouTube videos. In my head, I am making progress towards fulfilling my purpose. My purpose comes before any sort of relationship. That means my family, that means my friends, and that means any sort of women that I'm going to be engaged with. If I were to, if I were to prioritize a relation, say I started dating a girl, and she's like, "You're not really spending a lot of time with me. I don't like that. I need a man that can spend a lot of time with me." I could either stop working super hard on my purpose and spend a lot of time with her. And because I'm a masculine man, I'll be thinking about work all this time. And I'll be like, this is bullshit use of my time. And I'll be giving her my divided presence. My presence will not be pure, right? And I'll be resenting her. And she'll sense that I'm a man. Inversely, if instead I explain to her that I have a purpose to fulfill and that you can either stay and appreciate my journey, or you can leave and I'll still be okay with it. I'll still be loving you, and maybe in future someday you'll be ready for a more masculine man. Maybe right now you're not ready to be dating a masculine man who is driven and has a purpose in life and who's working super hard to fulfilling that purpose. When I say stuff like that to her and make her understand that my purpose comes before the relationship, without actually saying that, by the way, you don't really literally say that, sorry baby, my purpose is more important or my higher priority than you right now. Don't say stuff like that to your woman. Just to be very clear. But when you explain to her that your purpose is something that's more important to you than the relationship she's trying to make more important to you right now, firstly, that's a test. When you say stuff like that to her and you be like, I can maybe spend an hour or two per day with you, maybe I can do 5 minute calls or 10 minute calls with you every single day, she's going to appreciate that more versus if you give her like 7 or 8 hours of your time, but that's like divided and you're resenting her all the time. Because this is pure presence. You're actually appreciating her, you're loving her, you're giving her full masculine essence. You're like, she's going to be proud of you. She's going to tell her friends that my man is driven, she's working towards a purpose. She's going to be extremely proud of you and she's going to appreciate you that much more. That is the kind of man that you want to become. Chapter number 8: lean just beyond your edge. There are two main key points of this chapter. Firstly, let me explain what this means basically, what leaning beyond your edge means. Every man has his capabilities, right? You know that you can only work for a couple of hours before your productivity starts declining, right? After that, um, you're not really getting the right routine, return on time investment. So working beyond that point is giving you diminishing results. So you know that there are that you can only study for 60 minutes before you're focused, before your focus starts diversion, before you get distracted, right? So you know your limits, and your goal should be always to just lean slightly beyond that limit. I'm just giving you work example because that's the most practical example that I could think of right now. My edge, my capacity in work is 90 minutes. Every single day, I can do uninterrupted 90 minutes of work, easy. Every single day, I can sit down and work on my script or anything that gets me closer to fulfilling my purpose for 90 minutes straight. And I do that in a flow state, so I don't get distracted. I don't even look at the time for 90 minutes. And it's usually around 90 minutes where I'm like, for the first time, I glance at the time, I glance at the watch, and after that my distractions start hitting. That is the point where I'm like, I take my first break and then I go on to another work hour. That is me leaning just beyond my edge, right? So instead of just doing a 90-minute block of time, that would me being stagnant, that would me being like, I'm okay with not making any progress ever in my life for just, if I just work 90 minutes a day, because I know that's my capacity. I'll never work towards improving that capacity. My goal is to keep increasing that time, because I didn't just suddenly get into 90 minutes. My starting time, I'll tell you honestly, was 20 minutes. I could only study or only work for 20 minutes before I got distracted, before my attention got diverted. Eventually, I worked towards it and I got into a point where I'm comfortably able to study for or work for 90 minutes. After 90 minutes, it is like, maybe it's placebo, but I read a study where there has been a lot of studies basically where they say that after 90 minutes, your brain is not like physically not capable of focusing on a particular thing. So you do need a break after 90 minutes. So after 90 minutes, I take a 15-minute break. I walk around the room, I brush my teeth and stuff like that. And then I go get back on studying. Or I get back to working actually. I don't study anymore. I dropped out of college. So doing that, I'm pushing just beyond my edge. If, however, I were to say like my capacity is 90 minutes of work. So because I'm a high value man, instead of working for just 90 minutes, I am going to work for 3 hours. That is stupid and impractical, because that is too far beyond your edge. That is too far beyond your capacity, and you know it. And you're just doing that to make yourself feel good, but you're not really going to produce anything in that time, right? You're going to be distracted half the time. You're going to be wasting time. There is literally no roti, no return on time invested. I feel the need to say it again and again because this is the term I created. Roti does not exist on its own. Return on time investment is a version of ROI, the return on investment that I created on myself. So there is no return on time investment if you work for 3 hours when you know your capacity is only 90 minutes or 60 minutes, right? So this chapter talks about knowing your edge, knowing your capacities in any area of your life, and just leaning slightly beyond that. If I know I can only bench 70 kgs for 10 reps and I try and go for 15, that's stupid. I'll injure myself, I'll fail and drop the bar on my face, or I'll just not be able to do that, man. So it doesn't make sense. What makes sense is to try to get 11 or try to get those 10 reps with a better form. That makes sense because that's me just tipping my toe just beyond my edge, just beyond my capabilities. And you should always be in this little area where you're just slightly beyond your capabilities, but you're not comfortable, but you're not extremely stressed and uncomfortable where you're not even producing anything. You're getting diminishing results. That is stupid. So know your limits and just be slightly beyond that. Chapter number 10, enjoy your friend's criticism. I'll read the preface because I found it to be immensely valuable. A man's capacity to receive another man's direct criticism is a measure of his capacity to receive masculine energy. If he doesn't have a good relationship to masculine energy, example his father or maybe his elder brother, then he will act like a woman and be hurt or defensive rather than make use of other men's criticism. So I'll be honest, I somewhat struggle with this because I allow criticism and I welcome criticism. I love feedback because it helps. I am very. I like to think that I'm very logical and level-headed man. That I live off of logistics and data instead of emotions. When you take offense from another man's criticism, you act like a woman. You get defensive. You get hurt. You try to hurt them back. These are feminine traits. Obviously, not hurting someone back. Like hurting someone back because you got hurt is a feminine trait. Okay, like I'm talking like not in a sense like he punched you and you got hurt and you punched him back. That's I'm not talking about that. Like someone criticized like uh if you comment on this video and you say that my voice is too high and I take offense of that. I'm like, no, I have a deep voice. That would be me being a feminine man. That would be me being a pussy and a bitch. And that is not advised because your true friends will give you direct criticism. Like that is what men do with man. Like imagine a tribe or imagine your school days, right? Did any of your friends ever refrain from giving you criticism? They would make fun of you openly. They would they would bash you like completely destroy you. They would keep you humble with criticisms. They would be in terms in they would be in the form of disrespect sometimes insults, sometimes jokes, but they would always criticize you. That is what men are supposed to do, bro. And if you cannot take this criticism in a way, firstly, if they're supposed to be jokes or they're supposed to be insults, just take them in form of jokes. Be humorous about it. Be humorous yourself. They're joking on you. Make some jokes on them. That is the masculine relationship. That's just how masculine men work, bro. Even if you're a leader, you should be open to criticisms. Because criticisms are the gateway of you becoming a better man, of becoming a better version of yourself. Always be open to criticisms from real friends. Because, for example, I get lately I've been posting short form videos, and shorter videos often attract more degenerate now. Degenerate man meaning people who will disagree with me, people who will say that toxic masculinity, they will say red pill content, they will say I'm copying Hamza, I'm trying to be the not bald Andrew Tate, Indian Andrew Tate. These men are not true men. I don't take whatever they say seriously. I feel bad for them because I cannot help them. Because these are not my target audience. My target audience are men who understand that masculinity is how that's the only way for you to salvage yourself. You've made it to this part of the video. That means you're one of these men, and I consider you to be the one of the very few superior men of our generation. You still have a long way to go. You're still at the bottom tier of the superior man scale. And so am I, by the way. I'm just a few levels ahead of you. I'm still at the bottom level. But being able to take criticism, being able to work towards those criticisms, accept them as feedback, and not be hurtful and be defensive about them, that is a big, I would say, masculine trait. I welcome criticism. If you have any kind of criticism to give to me, I'd be more than happy to work towards it. If it is an actual criticism, if you just call me a bitch and if you just call me like a Hamza copycat, if you say stuff like that, then that's not really useful feedback for me because I can't do anything about it. But if you have actual feedback, actual criticism that I can work towards, that I can use to improve my content, that I can use to help more men like you, I would be more than happy to I would be more than happy to work towards that and improve that. I'd be grateful for that. So if you have something like that to say, comment down below. I'll be more than happy to work towards that. If you don't know your purpose, discover it now. I have a video on my channel that is like a full guide on how you can discover your purpose. It's an hour long video. It's extremely detailed and it is exactly like step by step process on how I discovered my own purpose. And no, you're not just going to discover your purpose by watching that video. That video is a guide on the process, on the journey you're going to get onto in order to discover your purpose. It's going to take time and effort and it's going to be hard. But once you discover your purpose, you are now a complete man. You're not a high value masculine man now. You're just complete. Until you know your purpose, you're just drifting. You're just like a plastic bag drifting in the wind. You're nothing. This is what a man without a purpose looks like, right? You can identify these men. There are lots of men of these kind. These men will accept the societal norms. When their teachers, when his teachers would tell him that he's a bad boy because he didn't study for his exams and he failed and he'll always be a failure because he didn't score good marks in his exams, he will accept and believe that. This man, when the society tells him that you're supposed to get good marks in school and to get into a good college, get a good degree from a reputable college, and then get a good paying job, he will accept that to be a supposed life journey. He is not, he does not know his own purpose. He is given an illusion of choice. He's like, you can take arts, commerce, or science. That's a choice. Fuck that. That's not fucking choice. You can either become a doctor, you can become an engineer, or you can take arts and not become anything. That's like the supposed choice. That's what the society makes you believe. Not true, but that's what the society tells you, right? And the man who refuses to figure out his purpose, who refuses to believe that he has a purpose on this planet, will believe all this and he will live as though this is true. After getting a job, he is told that he's now supposed to get married, so he will get married. He is then told he is supposed to have kids within the next 2 years. He then gets his wife pregnant, and within the next 1 2 years, he has a child. And so he does exactly what he's told. He gets good marks in school, he studies well, gets good marks in school, gets into a good college, graduates from the college, interviews for a job, get into a good job. After every 4 or 5 years, he gets a promotion. He reaches a point in his life after he's 45, 50 years old when he's finally making 1 lakh rupees per month. And he's now well off. He now has a home loan. He has 2 kids to look after. Their entire education is on his head. His wife despises him and does not want to have sex with him. And his kids don't listen to him because they don't respect him, because they barely know this man because he works all fucking day. And he's wasting his life away in office doing labor work, being a slave. This is exactly what the man without purpose is going to look like. And if this is the direction you're going, if any of the stages seem familiar to you seem or give you like a flashback of, oh, this is exactly how I thought my life is going to be like, this is exactly what I was working so hard towards, you too, my friend, don't have a purpose. You think you have a purpose because society gave you the illusion of option by telling you that, oh, you could take science, arts, or commerce. Once you take science, your options are locked, limited. Once you take commerce, your options are locked and limited. Once you take arts, your options are locked and limited. Once you get a college degree, again, your options are locked and limited. And once you get an okay paying job, you now have the safety net of a job. Again, an illusion, because the boss can fire you at any time when he feels like you're not valuable enough to the company, or when he finds another young man that is willing to do the same amount of or more work with less pay, he will instantly lay you off. He's instantly gonna fire you. So this entire rat race is an illusion. But most men are tell that this is the supposed journey of a life. This is what you're supposed to do, bro. And most men are like, will accept this because discovering your purpose is hard. It's a long process, but once you discover it, you know there is no other path for you. And purpose is not monetary. Sure, if you're poor, if you need to make money right now, your purpose right now is to just make money by any means, get a job. But if you're a Gen Z like me, if you have a father who has a good paying job or makes good amount of money, you have safety, bro. Your father didn't have the options that you had. Your father, your father probably didn't even have internet at this time. He probably had even lesser options in even the traditional education sense. You have way more options. It is disgraceful to still accept what the society tells you to accept your supposed life journey. So if you're still not aware of your purpose, I have a full on guide, an hour long guide on how you can discover your purpose. I'll probably leave a link of it in the description or the comments or in the cards above. You can check it out after completing this video. That is chapter 11. Chapter 12 is be willing to change everything in your life. This is a very, very interesting chapter that I found immense value in, and that it made me understand so much about my life in general. A man, as a man, you have like a ultimate purpose, like an ultimate goal, right? You know, you will discover if you don't know yet that this is why I was put in this planet. That is 100%. But you also have like smaller purposes. You also have like smaller layers that you're gonna start shedding. For example, like the goals that you have are also kind of purpose. So, for example, in 2020, I decided that I'm gonna, for once and for all, start studying. Before that, I promise you, when I say this, this doesn't make sense to anybody that I tell, but I genuinely did not know how to study, and I genuinely did not study before this. Before my 10th standard board exams, I had never studied once in my life. I was just rote memorizing everything that I could one night before the exam, and just throwing up everything that I could on the answer sheet, and I got passing marks. That happened for all of my school life. Finally, in 10th, I decided that now this time, like I finally need to do this, because this like 10th standard is kind of like, if you're, especially for Asian people, for Indians, it's very important for us because the relatives start asking about us, right? You're in 10th standard, how much did your son get in 10 board exams? They suddenly start caring, your neighbors start asking you. So it was basically, I had to do it to main to I basically had to do it so my parents would not be embarrassed of me. Secondly, I also wanted to see like what can I do if I just give my 100% towards a particular task. I fulfilled that particular purpose of mine. I decided that I'm going to give my all. I'm going to sacrifice everything in my life, and I'm giving my all, my true masculine essence to that one particular goal or purpose of my life at that particular time. And I did. I decided I'm going to score 80% mark, and that's exactly to the point how much I got. I had fulfilled my purpose. And I made a video earlier where I talked about this exact scenario, and I was like, after 10th happened, I suddenly became like a complete degenerate goblin, and I hated my life. I got depressed because I suddenly had no purpose. I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. Like, I just had achieved a goal. I should be happy, but I wasn't, because of this. You see, your life is going to be until you achieve your lifelong goal of your purpose, which is never going to happen. You're never going to achieve this, fulfill this goal. You're always going to make more and more progress towards this goal. Never going to achieve this, and that is okay. But there are going to be phases of your life. There are going to be different layers of purpose of your life, like onion, where you're going to discover more about yourself. You're going to become a better man, a more improved, more masculine man, as you start fulfilling these smaller, more superficial, let's say, purposes. Still gonna be hard for you, still gonna be an achievement for you, but these are not gonna be um as high value or as meaningful as the later on purposes in your life. This was an example of that. I had just shed a layer of my purpose. I was supposed to. I was supposed to go through this phase of intense work ethic, of intense consistency, intense discipline towards studying. Because I discovered a lot of things. I learned a lot. I discovered a lot of things about myself. I gained a newfound confidence in myself. I created a system of goal achievement. A lot happened to me from that. And that was supposed to happen, and that was extremely valuable for me. But right after that happened, it was like my lost life has suddenly lost purpose. I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. Like I was supposed to have fun, watch movies, go out with girls. I didn't. I did all that, but I didn't like any of it because I didn't know this at the time. But I had become a better man. I had discovered that I'm capable of working extremely hard. I'm capable of producing large amounts of high value work. I'm capable of focusing. I'm capable of putting my attention towards something that I really care about. I'm capable of achieving something that I really truly care about. And I had fulfilled it. So suddenly, here are the signs. The David Data has literally put points that will help you understand that you have suddenly just recently shed a layer of your purpose, right? So here are the signs of fulfilling or completing a layer of a purpose. Number one is suddenly have no interest whatsoever in a project or mission that just previously motivated you highly. After after I had finished my 10th board exams, I did the exact same thing in 12th, but I didn't feel motivated to do so. I had to force myself because it wasn't as valuable for me. In 10th, I did it because I wanted to prove to myself something. I wanted to prove my parents something that I can if I want to, but I'm choosing not to because I don't respect the education system. That was something that was driving me. And in 12th, I was just simply studying because I wanted to get into a good college because I stayed away from my own beliefs and values because of the girlfriend. So that's number one. Number two is you feel surprisingly free of any regrets whatsoever for starting the project or for ending it. In a previous video of mine, I have explained that while I was studying for 10th, I suddenly lost all interest and motivation and dedication towards studying for my board exams. Like I didn't care at all. I still scored the marks that I wanted to. I just didn't study as hard as I did in 10th because I just didn't give a fuck. Instead, I focused more on discovering my purpose. Instead, I focused more on how I'm going to achieve that purpose of mine. And that felt more important to me at that time than actually studying. I did not feel any remorse for not studying for a week straight when I have a test and I have a board exam in a week. So this is another sign. Sign number three is even though you may not have the slightest idea of what you're going to do next, you feel clear, unconfused, and suddenly, especially unburdened. That this didn't happen because I knew that I needed to discover my purpose. I didn't know how I was going to discover my purpose. It took a long time for me to do so. It took a couple of months, maybe even I would say a year to discover what I want to do. But I knew that I had to discover that. That was the only path for me. But there was a long period of time where I was like, am I doing, is this the right decision? Very confused, very unsure of what I was doing, but very weirdly also clear that this is what I'm supposed to do instead of the other thing. I had two options. Either I had given my CUET entrance exams, I was eligible for applying and getting into a lot of colleges, a lot of good colleges, but I decided to not do that because I knew that that was not the path for me. Instead, I knew that this is what I was supposed to do. So even though I felt unsure, I felt like I'm not really, I felt like I'm not doing what I am doing correctly. I knew that I was doing the right thing. That is very important for you. Number four is you feel an increase in energy at the prospect of ceasing your involvement in the project. This was 100% true. I felt the happiest and so proud of myself when I decided that when I made an informed decision that I'm not going to go and study college, that I'm not going to get a degree from college, that I'm going to drop out of college. Not because I wanted to live this false internet influencer life where I'm like, I can proudly say every day that I have dropped out of college, but because I knew that that was not the right path to fulfilling my purpose. And I was exceptionally sure of that. So I knew that studying was not the path for me. And I was exceptionally happy to pull my hand from my involvement in that particular genre of mine. That is number four. Number five is the project seemed almost silly, like collecting shoelaces or wallpapering your house with gas station receipts. Sure, you could do it, but like, why would you do it? That is so relatable, bro. And when I read it, I was like, my mind was blown. Maybe you can relate to it too, because that is exactly how I felt. Like I, I have discussed this in a previous video of mine, maybe 2, 3 videos away. I remember talking about this yesterday because I recorded that video yesterday. This is 100% true. While I was studying, I was like, what the fuck am I doing, bro? I have a video where I literally tell you this. I literally said to myself, and I wrote it on a piece of paper, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Because studying in 10th kind of made sense. But 12th, what was I trying to prove to myself? Maybe I can cope and say I was trying to perfect my goal achieving framework, but that was not even in my subconscious back then. My goal was to get good marks in 12th so I can apply for a good college, so I can get a degree and get a good paying job. I had swayed so much further away from my path. Ashamed of that, but I'm also proud that I got out of that. Better late than never, right? These are all the signs that you will encounter, that you will see if you truly have discovered your purpose, or if you have just shed a layer of your purpose, or your layer of your masculinity. Of course, there can be instances where you're delusioned or illusioned by this, where you can feel like, where you can cope and think like, where you're just disinterested in a particular activity and you're like, oh, I have just completed my layer, my purpose, my masculinity layer. You can be like that, but this is a skill to understand when you have shed a layer and when you're actually just pooping. So a good way to bulletproof yourself from this problem is to never quit. Never quit because you feel like you're disinterested. Never quit because of a lack of motivation. Never quit because you feel like suddenly, without any external information, without any new information, you feel like whatever you're working towards is not going to work. This is how I felt last month when my YouTube channel was not really performing that well. My hour-long video that I put so much effort into were barely getting like 50, 60 views. But I knew that that was not me completing a layer of masculinity or completing a layer of my purpose. That was just like a downward spike in my progress. And that is okay. But coping and saying that that's me just finishing a layer of my masculinity or my purpose, that is a bitch move. Don't do that. That is why I persisted and got out of that rut phase. And now I don't feel like I don't feel a lack of motivation anymore. I feel more motivated. I'm ready to challenge myself now. That's why I decided I'm going to be posting every single day for a month now. So a good way is to just push past any sort of discomfort. And when you're making good progress, when you're still producing high quality, good content, or good quality work, then if you still feel like this is kind of silly, because while I was studying, I was actually retaining everything. I was actually like going through FAQs, previous year question papers, and I said FAQs, that was really stupid. I was going through last year question papers of board exams, and I was like going through them very easily, and I was making actually really good progress. I was very confident in me getting good marks in board exams. So even while that was happening, I still felt like that was silly. So that's when I knew that I had shed a layer of masculinity, that this was not the right path for me. So be mindful of when you're coping and when you've actually shed a layer of masculinity or shed a layer of your mini purpose. Let's say that. Chapter number 13. Don't use your family as an excuse. Now, this chapter is like designed for older men who are married, who may perhaps have children. But I think this can be very beautifully also helpful for men who are perhaps younger, men like us, younger men. So first, I'll explain this in our context, and then I'll explain it in the context that David Dira expects you to take value from this chapter, right? So in our context, if you blame your parents for anything, if you say my parents didn't get me into a good school, that's why I am the way I am. If you say my parents didn't give me good enough genetics, that's why I'm a weak, pathetic loser. If you say that my parents didn't correct me while I was making mistakes, if you say my parents pampered me too much, that's why I'm not able to be successful. If you say my parents didn't get me into a good college, if you say my parents didn't get me a car, if you have any excuse, right? If you have a statement in your mind that says my parents didn't blank, that's why I am weak, pathetic, unsuccessful, unemployed, anything. If you have this statement in your head, you are a burden to the society because irrespective of whether or not whatever you're thinking is true, it's not like just a hint to you, it's not. But if you think that your statement, whatever it is true, you are still a burden to the society because thinking this way, you will never achieve your purpose because you're giving your power away to other people. You're not taking responsibility. You're giving excuses, you're coping. And coping is the biggest form of, let's say, patheticness that I can think of right now. So if you blame your parents for any of your shortcomings, in my head, you are pathetic and you will never be successful. You're a failure because of yourself, not because of your parents. Irrespective of whether or not the whatever you think is true or not, it may very well be true. But if you're giving that one statement the power of your life, if you're like I'll never be successful because my parents didn't give pamper me enough. I'll never be making XYZ amount of money because my parents didn't get me into a good enough school or college. Fuck you, bro. I have zero respect for you. Are there not men who were perhaps not as educated than you, more successful than you? Are there not men who perhaps had more hardships than you in life, who were abused as children, who came out as multimillionaire, and men who other men look up to? See David Goggins. If you have read his autobiography, Can't Hurt Me, it's an amazing book. You should read it. He was abused as a child a lot by his father. His mother was consistently abused, physically assaulted, abused by his father repeatedly in front of him. So he had a very tough childhood. But he is now the epitome of masculinity, discipline, hard work. He's a multi-millionaire. Despite of all that, what excuse can you possibly have to? So that is in our context. This is what I took from the chapter, even though that's not what the chapter is about. What the chapter actually says is that if you're compromising on your purpose because you think you're better serving your family that way, for example, by the way, if you're like skipping a day of work, if you're not working as hard because you want your wife to rest because you just had a baby, and for a day, just for a day, you want to take care of the baby and have your woman rest, that is absolutely amazing. Very, very proud of. Obviously, you're a young man. You're not going to be like in that situation. But if you're open to some things like that, that is okay. But if you're like for a year or for a couple of years, I'll just take care of the kids, and you go do your job, pursue your career. You're saying this to your wife because you're going to take care of the kids, and you sacrifice on your purpose because of family. You're doing a disservice to the child that you're raising. Even though you're as a man, you're gonna raise him. You are now a feminine man because you're raising him as a feminine man. So in turn, you're also raising a feminine man. He's not going to respect you when he grows up. He's not going to idolize you. He's not going to see you as a superhero, as young men should, like as children should. Every child should look at his father and be like, that's a fucking superhero. I wish I can be 5% of what he is. And then you make him 110% of what you are. That is masculinity, right? That is how you're supposed to raise kids, raise men, raise boys. There's a different way of raising women that I'm not sure how to do, that I will learn if I have a daughter. So to say that you're sacrificing on your purpose to serve your family better, you're coping, because staying at home, not doing anything, raising a child, although is not easy, it's easier for a man. Because for a man to do something that he's not supposed to, because finding out your purpose and working hard towards it, not seeing progress for an extended amount of time, it's extremely painful. For a masculine man like me to not see progress for a very long time, not make any money, not see any growth in subscribers, that is extremely hard while I'm still making a lot of effort. But to be able to do that is extremely important, because that is what masculine men do. Because doing hard work even when you don't feel like it, that is the epitome of masculinity. And to sacrifice on that and is to just rob your women of a true masculine authentic man that you are. Because if you take care of your family, if you pretend that you want to take care of your family and you sacrifice your purpose, you're not going to be your authentic self and you're going to be bitter, as I covered in the earlier chapters. This is not what I say. Obviously, I'm not as old to know that. David Dida says that. So don't use your family as an excuse for being mediocre. You're mediocre because you choose to be mediocre, not because you're helping your family. Obviously, children are responsibility of both the parents. Family is completely entirely your responsibility to take care of financially and in terms of hardships, in times of hardships. But there are just different roles that a mother and a father has. So, and even a son and a daughter has. So be mindful of your own role. Don't sacrifice on your purpose because you think you're doing the right thing by helping your family or contributing to the family. You can contribute to the family in masculine ways by being your authentic self as well. Chapter 14. I fucking turned golden in sunlight, bro. What the fuck? Very happy, very grateful. Don't get lost in tasks and duties. There's a little note that I wrote. I usually write notes after finishing a chapter, but there's a note that I wrote in between the chapter because I found something to be extremely valuable, or maybe I had a thought. I'm going to read it to you. When doing something silly or something that is not directly aimed at fulfilling your purpose, ask yourself, what if I die right now? Would you be satisfied? Would you be happy if you masturbate? Imagine you die masturbating. Imagine your parents finding you with your dick in your hand. Would you want that death even? So this is a good stoic practice to do. Whenever you find yourself doing something that you know you should not be doing, or you know that is not directly in line with your purpose, ask yourself this: what if I die right now? Would you be proud of the death that you have encountered? Would your parents, say you have children, right? And you die doing something silly. Say you die while say you die while let's take the same example. You die while having a dick in your hand, right? Imagine your son growing up 18, 19 years old, and he finally asks his grandparents, so your parents, how did my father die? And they tell him, your father was jerking off in the bathroom and he slipped and he hit his head and he died. How pathetic, how disgraceful is that, bro? And you can insert any activity right there. If you're not 100% satisfied with your death in that moment, you probably should not be doing. God forbid, would touch if I die right now, I'll be completely satisfied and happy because I did die doing something that I'm proud of. My parents will be proud of myself, of me, because I'm saying things that are going to help young men become better versions of themselves. I am working towards fulfilling my purpose. And I'm not perfect. I don't 100% of the times do things that are completely aligned with my purpose. I watch TV shows. I I watch Trend Twins. These are fitness YouTubers that don't provide any value at all. They're just entertaining. So I would do a lot of things too that I should not be doing, that are not directly aligned to my purpose, but I still do them. But I don't do things that are so disgraceful, so disgusting, so silly that just just get me to be like, if I die right now, I'll be completely embarrassed, completely unsatisfied, and I would be sad as a soul, as a man that has just passed away. I'll be very sad of my death. So that is a good stoic practice to do whenever you, even if these are meaningful tasks, right? Even if these are tasks like having a skincare routine, like I have a skincare routine, like very small skincare routine. I'm not like a bitch. Don't have a 7-10 step skincare routine. I just wash my face, put a moisturizer, and just put a like a, I don't even know the name of the serum. I have a serum that I put on my face, right? These are the three things that I do in my skincare routine. But if I die while putting stuff on my face, I'll be embarrassed. I wouldn't be like dissatisfied, but I would be embarrassed. Like, as a man, like, what the fuck am I doing? Should be instead working towards fulfilling my purpose. These are just like some self criticism that I'm doing. I'm still going to be doing all these things. I'm still going to be working towards looking better. I care about my physical attractiveness. I am a narcissist. But I think that's like important in today's sexual market. That's just my opinion. So whenever you find yourself doing some meaningless tasks, or even some tasks that are not like directly aligned to your end goal or your purpose, just ask yourself this: what if I die right now? What would I be satisfied with myself? Would I be happy with this death? Most likely you wouldn't. Chapter 15th and the last chapter. This is what I was talking about earlier. Stop hoping for your women to get easier. I touched slightly on this topic earlier when I was talking about the introduction part. David Dida says that every man and every woman even has a sexual essence. They're either masculine or feminine, right? A very masculine man will be directly attracted to a very feminine woman. And if for some reason they fall in love with a masculine woman, a masculine man to a masculine woman, they're always going to be clashing. They're never going to be happy. They're always going to be fighting for authority, fighting for being the alpha, fighting for wearing the pants, fighting for making the decisions in the relationship, always fighting for everything. And same for if they both are feminine, because both these people are gonna always throw decisions to the other person. They're always gonna expect the other person to um, drive the relationship, always be the authority, and neither of them are gonna be. But that does not mean that if you're a high value masculine good man and you go for a high value feminine woman, that you're suddenly just going to solve all your problems. There's still, women are still, as I said, are always going to test you. Because think in terms of primal times, right? Think that these are prehistoric times. A woman has to test her man, right? Before she decides to spend the rest of her life with this man, right? Before she decides that I'm going to bear this man's children, she has to see if the man is capable of violence, but is also capable of controlling when he is violent. Because just out of common sense and logic, if the man is capable of violence, he will be able to protect the family. Any future children that are going to happen, or the woman itself, he is going to be able to protect her from other men that are going to try to steal his women or kill his women for any reason, try to kill their children so that there is no competition in the future for being the alpha man. he's going to be able to protect the family. Firstly, she's going to see that he is whether he's capable of violence. She does that by provoking the man, trying to get him to be angry, getting herself in situations that requires him to be violent. At the same time, she wants to see that the man is capable of controlling his anger, controlling his violence. Because think of this, like children are gonna be poking you. You probably have seen videos of tigers and like lions, of the baby lion trying to fight his father lion. You probably have seen those videos, right? He bites the father's ear, he bites the father's tail. He tries to fight him, try to play fight him with him, right? And that is going to happen in any species. The children are always going to try and provoke, even subconsciously trying to provoke the man. And if the man is not capable of controlling his anger, controlling his violence, he will kill the child, right? Like even, right now, obviously you can't kill the child, but in primal times, like when it was not illegal, the guy, if the child angers the man in any way, the man would just kill him, just kill the child. And the woman, the mother, does not want the child to die, because the children are going to follow the bloodline, just biologically speaking, not even including any emotions, just logically talking to you, because the children are going to spread the bloodline of the woman, because the man can just go and fuck other women and create, like, increase the population, spread his seed and just create more of himself, spawn more of his future self. But the woman requires to bear the children and raise the children, right, in order to transfer her DNA. So she needs a man that is capable of violence, but at the same time capable of harnessing that violence. That is why she's always going to be looking for ways that she can provoke you, get under your skin, trigger you even, but she expects you to not act in a way that is violent. So you don't get offended when she criticizes you. Instead, you act as an authority and you tell her that that is not something that is acceptable to you. You don't, if she says that you look fat, you don't be like, you look fat, a bitch. Instead, you work towards not being fat in the next couple of months. And you show your big fucking biceps and you're like, what about now? That is the way of the superior man. That is all the important chapters that I felt were important. That is just the first segment of 15 chapters. The next segment or the next section of this video is part 2 that includes dealing with women. If you want part 2 of this video where I will cover all the chapters in dealing with women, the second part of this book, I want you to comment it down below, because this took a lot of effort. I've been recording for a lot of time, and I just want to know whether or not you found value enough in this video that you want more of this. So just comment down below if you want a part 2. Just comment part 2 if you want it, and I will make another video very soon. Now, as I said, I'm uploading every single day, so it'll probably come out in a day or two. If you found value in all of this content, and if you resonated with everything that I'm talking about, there is a Notion template that I've created. It is an ebook. It is absolutely free. You don't have to give me your email either. Just click on the top link in the description and you will find an entire in-length book, kind of a book that I've written, where I have covered a lot of topics from philosophy, mindset, discipline, consistency, habits, masculinity, purpose, how to work hard, how to focus on things, how to improve your physical attractiveness, fitness even. If you're interested in any of these things, click on the top link in the description. The reason I'm giving this away for free is not because I'm some kind of a saint. Is because I can think just in long term. In the long term, if you found value in my free content, hopefully you'll be willing to invest in my paid content as well. So hopefully you'll be willing to, in future, hire me for coaching, and that would, maybe then we can exchange value. You can provide me value in terms of money, and I can provide you value in terms of skyrocketing your progress in order to become the high value man or the best version of yourself that you want to become. So if that sounds interesting to you, it's completely free. Check out the top link in the description. I'm building a community of high value men when you want to become high value. If you think you're one of them, which if you made it to this part of the video, you 100% are, subscribe to my channel right now so I can help you in your own self-improvement journey by videos just like this every single day now for a month straight. I'll see you in the next video.